Moving on over to Alec Baldwin. He was indicted on charges of involuntary manslaughter for a second time in connection with the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his movie Rust. So we confirmed the news on January 19th that more than 2 years after she died at the age of 42 in October of 2021, after Alec fired a prop gun on set, which was loaded with real bullets. His attorney did say that they look forward to their day in court, and that he actually faces up to 18 months in prison if convicted. So initially, Alec was charged with involuntary manslaughter in January of 2023 and pleaded not guilty the following month. The charges were ultimately dropped in April of that year. So why are these charges coming up yet again?
Christina, I've gotten a lot of questions about this case because it's really been botched by the prosecution. So I'll talk about the first case and how we ended up here. So originally, prosecutors came out very aggressively. They charged Alec Baldwin with not only involuntary manslaughter, which has a potential 18-month sentence, but a 5-year firearms enhancement, which would have put Baldwin away for a minimum of 5 years in New Mexico State Prison if he was convicted. Well, it turns out that that enhancement was unconstitutional. It was retroactive. So Baldwin, who was very good defense lawyers, were able to get that stricken. Then one of the prosecutors in the case had to step down because of a constitutional separation of powers issue, because she was a member of the New Mexico State Legislature. You can't be prosecuting cases as a member of the executive branch as well. So when it was clear that Baldwin's lawyers were digging their heels in, litigating this case very aggressively, and that they weren't going to waive time, which means that they were going to assert their right to a speedy trial, the case was headed to a preliminary hearing, which is essentially a mini trial before the judge. The prosecution was not ready. They dismissed. And because no jury had been impaneled and sworn in, double jeopardy didn't attach. So this time around, what they did is they didn't go to a preliminary hearing. They decided to go to a grand jury. So a grand jury is a secret proceeding, and there the prosecution presents their case, but it's only the prosecutor. There's no defense attorney, there's no defendant. So grand jurors here are one-sided account of the case, and just by a simple majority, they have to find probable cause. So that's what happened here. And the prosecutors did this to get around that preliminary hearing, which they may have lost last year had they decided to move forward.
Wow. So what happens next for Alec? How does his, what's his defense going forward now? And considering it kind of fell apart last year, is that give him an advantage going into this, or is this two totally separate things now?
Baldwin clearly has the advantage here, and he's not going to plead guilty to anything. It's not just because he has a strong defense on the merits. He cares about his reputation. He cares about his career. So, you know, if you look at the facts of this case, there are really three people who are responsible. The armorer, who was Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, she's also being charged with manslaughter. But she's the most responsible, in my opinion. She's the one whose job it is to maintain these weapons on set and to make sure they're safe. Then you have someone by the name of Dave Halls. He was the assistant director, and he's the one who famously or infamously gave Baldwin the gun and told him it was a cold gun. Now, he's important because prosecutors gave him a no-time misdemeanor deal, basically a slap on the wrist. And arguably, he's more culpable than Baldwin because he's the one that said the gun was safe, that it either wasn't loaded or it contained blanks. And then, of course, you have Baldwin himself, who's still being charged with manslaughter. I believe that's overcharging the case. And we know that he has access and the resources to get some of the best lawyers in the country, which he has. So I fully expect this case to go to trial, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. Jurors love celebrities.
Yeah, no. Okay. So we foresee this going to trial then. This is not stopping anytime soon. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I can't imagine the prosecution giving Baldwin any type of deal and Baldwin taking one because he has such a strong defense here.